Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm a coach in a trans channel, and welcome back to my series called Spirit School. This is a super fun series that I've just started that I'm so excited about. Every single week, I invite forward the spirit guides to share wisdom with us. And it's concepts, analogies, or any kind of wisdom or perspective that I don't have a frame of reference for, that I've never thought of before, that I would find deeply intriguing. And I thought it would be fun to do a weekly series like this so that we can all learn something new. I'm a deeply curious person. I love asking the question why. I like understanding how things work on a very um, macro and also micro scale. And some of the things that I'm the most grateful for when it comes to having this connection with my highest self is being able to have an endless opportunity to ask questions and to just be deeply curious. And I wanted to invite all of you into that experience with me and with them as well, and with you as well too, and to invite you into exploring your own curiosity about things. And what I wanted to do with this series is also invite you forward to share ideas with me for future episodes, anything that you've had on your mind that you've always wondered about, or that you would like a new perspective around. Comment what that is below, and we can turn it into an entire episode and share this platform and come together and explore as a community. So, the way this works, super simple. I close my eyes, I tune in to the guides, and I see what they want to share with us today. I haven't given them for today's episode any framework. I've just said, please share something with me that I think would be super interesting. So, I have no idea what they're going to say. Every week has been different, but really, really fascinating. So, the message tends to come through slow and build on itself. And so let's just close our eyes and strap in and just go along for the ride. So just give me a second and we'll get started. Okay, so they're starting with an image, which is typically what they like to do. And I'm just going to describe what they're showing me. They're showing me one of those buoys in the water in an ocean setting, and it's just kind of bobbing around. And it seems like it's a very windy day, and the wind is just kind of knocking around this buoy as it's kind of bobbing around in the wavy ocean water. And they're just really zoning in on the wind and how the wind is pushing it around. Um, And it doesn't matter how hard the wind pushes it over, it never knocks it over completely because of how it was designed. It always bounces back, it bobs back and forth, and it tilts around, but it always bounces back. And so there's this nature of how the buoy was designed that it always remains in its upright position, and it doesn't matter how much wind is knocking it around, it never topples over completely. It's always just bouncing and moving um, without fully getting um, kind of lost to the elements. Okay, and they're using this as an analogy now that they want to extend to the nature of the soul self. Okay, where are you guys going with this? They're saying the soul self is um, it has the capacity to always be resilient. It doesn't matter how often it's been knocked around, it bounces back. And you probably have witnessed this in your own spirit inside of this human lifetime. It doesn't matter how many times you've been knocked around, knocked down, you dust yourself off, you get back up, and you find a way forward and you overcome and you persevere. And they're just highlighting that nature of the human spirit that the soul self um, is what? Is inspired by. Am I getting that right? Inspired by? Impacted by. It comes from the nature of the soul self, is what they're saying. This need, this desire to persevere is very indicative of the soul self. Okay, what else do you want us to know about this? And they're saying a lot of you ask the question, why? Why am I being forced to undergo this? Why am I being faced with so many challenges? Why is my life so hard? Why have I had to encounter so much hardship? And they're saying it's because the soul desires to experience its own resilience through you. That there's a desire for the soul to observe and witness and experience its own resiliency. And you are the vehicle and the method through which it's choosing to do that in at this time, in this way, in this form of reality. And and what? And they understand that there's a certain level of disdain for that we have because we're the ones that are having to deal with it. We're the ones that are being, drug through the trenches and the emotional impact that it has on us mentally, physically, and emotionally is really, really rough. However, what they want us to know about that is what? Is it's all an indication of the devotion that we have to our sense of self. They're saying that you have a very strong, however, potentially unconscious devotion to who you are, to your sense of self, to your survival, to your desire to remain intact and whole your and holding on to your sense of identity. And this drive, this desire is what leads you forward despite how many times you've been knocked down. And this is deeply fascinating to the soul's consciousness and awareness of itself because this is the nature of reality, is a desire to experience itself, a desire to experience its desire for itself. And this desire is being expressed through you at this time in this way. And they want you to begin to observe it in that way too. We tend to focus on the shit, the things that suck, and how hard it is, and how much we're working. However, if you can zoom out a little bit, take a step back a little bit, and observe your own desire for perseverance, your own desire to be knocked down and to get back up again, your own desire to persevere and to keep going, then they want you to be able to see that in the way that your soul's self sees that, in the way that source sees that, in the way that consciousness sees that and observes that, and begin to observe your own divine self through you from that vantage point. Wow. Wow. What else do you want us to know about that? They're saying that you try as hard as you can to feel like a higher sense of awareness and consciousness within you. However, it's not going to come from like some ethereal being teaching you something or displaying some level of divine um, manifestation or uh, resurrection of some kind. That's the word they're using. They're saying that it it comes from observing your own desire to push through, to persevere. That is the clearest indication of your divine spirit. They're saying source consciousness's desire is to experience its own desire for for life, for existence itself. And what better way to observe that, to witness that, to feel that, to express that than through your own experience of it and your ability to witness it and have gratitude, show gratitude to yourself for the ability and the choosing of displaying it through your actions. And there is nothing else to it other than your own choosing to see it that way because you're going to be experiencing it anyway. So you might as well be able to observe it through that lens. It's going to make the experience of it more meaningful and you will access more pride inside of who you are as well for having done it. Wow. Okay. What else? What else do you want us to know about this or anything else that you'd like to share with us today? They're just saying, feel your resiliency. And that is your way of feeling your own source consciousness, soul consciousness, desiring to experience itself through you, desiring to experience its own intention for being through you. It is the intention for existence itself that is being expressed through you in this way. And you are the gift that is being given inside of that experience. It is your existence itself that is the gift. Your ability to live and to express no matter how challenging it is to do so. It is not about getting to an end point. It is not about creating or manifesting to your heart's content because you are already doing that through your own sheer will to live. Existence itself is the desired endpoint. And it doesn't feel like that's big enough oftentimes, like great enough. It doesn't feel like you should be given an award or or validated or celebrated for just existing, but they're saying that you are one in a million, one in a billion, one in a trillion, one in an infinitesimal number Like your existence was chosen by you and through you and to be expressed as you. And that needs or should be celebrated because, because why? Because you, because why? Why should that be celebrated? Why shouldn't it be celebrated? Is what they're saying. Why not celebrate life? Why not celebrate your ability to overcome and persevere? I mean, isn't that what you're looking for? Is to celebrate something inside of you. And it feels like you haven't done enough yet, but you have overcome challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. When are you going to be willing to lay down your sword and take a fucking bow? Is what they're saying. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about this or anything else today? They're just saying feel pride. Like there's nothing wrong with feeling prideful and holding back from your willingness to celebrate existence itself is robbing you from the celebration that you're craving. You're looking for a reason to earn the right to celebrate something. Why not celebrate the life that you've lived and everything that you've accomplished, no matter how small it might seem? Because it didn't feel small to you, is what they're saying. They're saying it felt monumentous to overcome so many of the things that you had to, that you were forced to, that you chose to, is what they're saying. You chose to overcome them. Why are you choosing not to be grateful for that choice and for your ability to do that? We celebrate Source. We celebrate the archangels. We celebrate the ascended masters. We celebrate our spirit guides. Like you're tuning in to this video because you're perceiving their knowledge and their wisdom to be something worthwhile to receive. And therefore, that's like a form of celebration of their existence. Why are you choosing not to celebrate your own? The wisdom that you've accumulated, the challenges that you've overcome, all of the life lessons that you have to share or that you just have like stored inside of you, but that are there at the ready for you to pull up and review and reflect on and witness. They're celebrating you. They're not the ones here being dragged through the trenches. What else do you want us to know? They're feeling my next question coming up, which is like, but like what, why, like what does that accomplish? Like celebrating who we are just for the sake of celebrating it. Why should we do that? Like what good does that really do for us other than feeling a momentary feeling of peace or joy? And I have a feeling I know what they're going to say, but that's my question. They're saying you tuned into this video to receive some sort of wisdom perspective in the hopes that you're going to feel lighter, more excitement, more joy, or the possibility of like expansion through that message. And they're saying, here you go, we're giving it to you. Why does it not feel worth it? Why is it not big enough for you? Why is the celebration of you not worth celebrating or seeing as big enough or joyful enough? And where is the possibility of transcending or expansion not seen as visible through your own experience of your own hardships and the possibility that you've created through them and on the other side of them. They're saying, humanity, you guys love to complain. You love to feel the density and yet you search for levity and here you are. Here's an opportunity to feel it and you're second guessing it and you're wondering why you should. Yeah. Okay. Uh, is there something you're trying to tell me? They're saying feel freedom and your heart will recognize what it has been feeling instead, which is sacrifice. Can you explain that more? Yes, you sacrifice you and your attempt to find freedom because you believe that freedom will come from some outside source, from attaining something, from accessing something. But freedom doesn't come from the outside in, it comes from the inside out. You constantly have the choice to feel your lack of freedom. And if you continue to choose that over and over again, then you're constantly going to be searching for freedom and wondering what you're missing. You're going to constantly be tuning into these videos and asking for something more. What am I missing? I'm still searching. I'm still seeking. I can't find it yet. Give me the magical answer that's going to flip the switch for me. And I'm going to have this aha moment and realize what it is I've been missing. And they're saying what you've been missing is your willingness to choose it. And here is an opportunity to. Okay. I'm just wondering, I'm just taking a moment to see if there's anything else on this topic that I have a question about. Yeah, they're giving me a hard time. They're saying you question what's possible if you were to choose celebrating you. That is true. Okay. They're saying, are you willing to explore this right now? Yes, I'm willing to explore this. I'm willing to be vulnerable. Uh, what is possible if we choose to celebrate ourselves in the now moment? They're saying anything. Can you explain that, please? Yes, anything is possible inside of your willingness to choose it. And right now, you're choosing to focus on the struggle. So you will always be aware of how much you're struggling and how much you've had to struggle and how much more the struggle there will be. And you will perceive the road ahead to be one filled with struggle. And you will choose the one that is the most struggle for you because that is what you are seeing all around you and perceiving to be the only option available to you. And believing that in order to find freedom and to celebrate your successes and who you are, you have to struggle first. There's going to be struggle before the celebration, like the dusk before dawn, the storm before the clouds part. And they're saying that is just your reality that you have created where you aren't yet willing to access the freedom that's here because you fear that if you do, if you were willing to choose ease rather than sacrifice, that you will miss something. Can you explain that, please? You will miss the doorway through to the path that's you believe is going to guide you to the end result you're looking for because you are operating under the belief system that there has to be struggle and sacrifice and challenge and strife. And if you feel ease, you're going to miss the struggle required to get to the celebration on the other side. That is so true. That is so true for me. Okay, so then what's the truth? The truth is when you choose to celebrate you just as you are for everything that you've gone through and who you've become, then you will continue to choose you. You will continue to choose your celebration of you. You will continue to choose the path that feels the most wondrous, the most easeful. And you will find that there are many more opportunities that you didn't realize were present before because you weren't looking there. And you will find avenues and lanes that will guide you in different directions, directions that you will not fully trust because it's never felt easeful before. And you will constantly be surprised that there doesn't need to be struggle on the path to celebration and success. Because ultimately, what you're seeking is your ability to feel freedom, and you'll be creating it every step of the way, and you'll never be lacking of it. You'll never be searching or seeking for it. It'll always be what's felt within you, what's expressed through you, and what's created as a result of you. And what can be created and realized on the other side of a path of freedom, whatever freedom perpetuates. And perhaps your current self can't visualize that or perceive that at this moment in time. But what? But perhaps your need to perceive it now is simply creating the paradigm inside of the struggle that you're constantly choosing to experience. Because there's struggle inside of not being able to perceive something that you feel like you need to be able to. And where's the freedom in that? There is a sense of freedom in that, which is why you keep choosing it, but it's also perpetuating the struggle that you keep trying to avoid. Freedom is found inside of no longer needing to perceive what lies ahead of you, but simply trusting that as long as you're willing to feel free now, you will continue to experience that same freedom moving forward. And they're saying that outside circumstances may throw you around, just like the buoy bobbing in the water, but you will bounce back like you always have. And your ability to bounce back will be stronger and more forceful, more violent when you're used to choosing freedom over and over and over again. It doesn't matter how strong the wind knocks you over, the stronger the wind knocks you over, the stronger you'll bounce back because you will choose to. You will know how to, and you will feel free to. Wow. Is there anything else that you'd like us to know about this? They're saying, yes, freedom is you when you can feel the freedom that the life you have lived has offered to you, which is the willingness to persevere and choose you over and over and over again, and the potential to celebrate this is where your freedom can be found, will be found, and realized. Wow. Okay. I can feel there's more here. Can you sum this up? I want to start closing this video off because I can keep going and going and going and going. Can you kind of give us one final thing that you would like us to know? And then I'm going to wrap this up. Is there anything else that you'd like us to know about this? Okay, they're saying we'll save it for another time. I can feel that there's like more that's wanting to come through. They're saying, okay, we're going to hold back. We're going to save this for another time. There's many more episodes to come, and they will share much more of this with you in time. Okay, thank you so much. That was a beautiful message. And again, it's so simple, but it's always a perspective that I haven't quite seen in exactly that way. So they're always able to take like an idea that I've explored, but kind of turned the prism slightly so that I'm able to see the idea through a different lens, through a different facet. It's fascinating. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Spirit School today, and I hope that you can take this message and move forward from this moment, knowing that there's the option to celebrate you more, to celebrate what you've been through, what you've accomplished, even if it's as simple as your desire to exist, your desire to remain whole, your desire to continue moving forward, because that is something to be celebrated. And just witnessing where it doesn't feel like enough, where you've held back from doing that in the future, and knowing that you have the awareness now to choose differently moving forward. I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.